Hello, storytelling Ron here. This is a For the Lord RPG. This is a Christian role-playing game where you play as an evangelist church planning in fantasy sort of worlds, Dark Ages, post-apocalyptic, and sci-fi, Christians in space. Okay, so and these steal from every pagan RPG out there. That's right. You will have Terminators, space bugs. In the Apostles of Apoc, you have mutants and zombies and toxic, still biblically adherent. Yep, still biblically adherent. And then the Dark Ages, which I have some demon, like, you know, the extremes are demons and undead and evil spirits and possessions of things. You can have that, but then you can have like sort of Hyperborea in the sense of, or Savage Worlds in the sense of like King Kong. Remember the movie King Kong with all the giant insects and prehistoric dinosaurs, which are all called dragons. So that kind of stuff, and that's historical, by the way, that kind of stuff you have in the Dark Ages one. So there's definitely brutal, scary bears, rabid bears, plenty of rabid, drug-induced beasts by the witches and all that. So you got, what I'm trying to create here is a role-playing game that totally feels and fits like all the other role-playing games, because I love D&D and all that stuff. But you get to be an actual Christian. You don't play the motif of a Christian. You actually play you got to go fight. You got to go kill some bad things and bad guys. You got to do that. That's definitely part of the fun. There's a lot of that going on, but then you get to actually talk to the villagers. Okay, here's an example. In role-playing games, in Shadow Dark, D&D, and all that, you go to the village, find out what's wrong, go fight the thing, go fight the dragon that's nearby, get the treasure, come back, reward, whatever, and upgrade your stuff. Right? That's the whole game. Money, reward, upgrades, next. Money, reward, upgrades, next. Fighting like that. They can put different little motifs on it, but that's basically the sequence. Mine, a Christian one, and this is church history, medieval history. This is how it happened. This is how it needs to happen again. Is you go out to the village, find out there's a dragon. They worship the dragon. Now you got to deal with the dragon, and then you got to change the hearts and minds of the villagers. And if that goes bad, they'll probably fight you because they've probably got zealots and crazies and pagans and Democrats and all that. So there's that. Then when you convert them, hopefully, or at least subdue them enough to that they will say, okay, you can plant a church here, and we'll kill you later. Whatever pagans do. Then there's this whole wonderful build up of where you build churches and you move along in the story and you can role play conversion, man. And for the most part, when you convert someone, they don't suddenly become theologists. They're open to you planting a church, and then the NPC church ministers come and build the church while you will go off to do the next thing. And that church becomes like a little bastion or fort for you to come back to and heal or talk to or get more missions from. So the church becomes a center point of your next, base of operations so that you can go out to the next mission or next story or whatever. You understand? This is nothing. Now, obviously, when I first figured this out, it was out of a desperate need for something because I realized, D&D, they're all going woke. They're still going woke. You saw my previous video with that lazy DM guy just telling us if we don't play like him, if we don't get rid of the colonialism in our games, then we're evil. And he hates Jesus Christ, obviously. So I got to rebuke all that stuff, and then I've got to give us something here that is Christian RPGs, an actual Christian RPG. I don't know of anyone else on YouTube doing this. I don't know anyone. Please, if you want to take my game and go make a channel and create playthroughs and all, please, I will not charge you anything. I would appreciate you buying the game. But other than that, you can go for it, and you'll probably homebrew some weirdo story and setting that I'm like, what? But I don't care. Whatever. You got to do what you got to do. We all do that with D&D anyway, so that's just typical. All right, what I'm going through here now after this long drawn rant is and babbling is what I'm doing, and I'm pretty excited about this in the new year, and this has been bothering me. I am not changing the rules. The rules are pretty much good to go. I'm just cleaning it up now because every time I describe the rules or give people the rules, it takes them a while. It's just really tough to sink in for them. And so here it is. I've got 2 pages now. I've rewritten the whole thing. I didn't even look at the original rules because I it's in my head. So I wrote it out like this. But let me just show you. Here's the Dark Ages. And the rules, let me go back up to the section here. See, so I've been taking notes. I kind of copied and pasted it. I was going to rewrite it and clean it up. But it's really like a patchwork of play testings that I then, would go in and adjust accordingly, over the last 2 years, over 100 players. So if you want to make your own Christian RPG, 2 years, 100 players, or you could just work with mine and start creating your own GM settings and scenarios. And settings in the Dark Ages would be pick a century, and then pick a region of Europe that or Christendom or non-Christendom. But you can always do evangelism, church planting, even like in 14th century or 18th century, because you can, there's always like pagans retaking an area or whatever. But I would do like Dark Ages with 6th century, 7th, 8th century, like that. There's a lot of areas you can pick all around Christendom, Europe, North Africa. North Africa sad. Interesting. It ended very violently, the Christianity there, and then Islam took over pretty quickly. So that's pretty creepy. But in the Middle East is obviously I'm not. The reason I haven't touched on the Middle East stuff yet and Islam is because I don't know. I don't mind criticizing Islam. It's a whole big fish to fry, which I wouldn't mind doing, but I'm focused on this first, on Christians and pagans, because pagans right now are the worst things right here in America. Yes, Islam is part of paganism, but paganism, Democrats, the left, Marxism, communism, that's really what's messing us up. If we can take care of that, I believe that as Christians, we can easily take care of Islam. The problem is we Christians have weakened ourselves. We have submitted to the stupid pagan ideology and the left and the woke and the Democrats and a surrender, shameful stance that we should not, we need to get out of. Anyway, okay, why am I keep going on ranting? Okay, anyway, so here's the rules. And it's all very patchwork because of the 2 years and 100 players of playtesting. And then here's another silly thing I did. I made the 3 game settings, and it's very organic, and each one of them I had to update every time I had a new rule. I had to update all 3 because they're all sort of slightly different. Same rules, just slightly different formatting and a slightly different change because of, this one has guns and this one has spaceships. So blah, blah, blah. But same rules. You can easily put in a Dark Ages character into the sci-fi if you wanted to. They just get a laser gun. But let me go back down. The reason I'm showing you all this is because I just want you to see how much patchwork and difficulties, but I'm going to get it simplified. I know this can be daunting. For me, I love it, but I think, I'm trying to appeal to appealing to veteran Christian RPGers is not working too well, because I'm so contentious, I guess. And I've had about one a month of Christian men come to me, email or whatever, and they're annoyed that I am telling them that that D&D and all these other games are pagan and you shouldn't play them. And then they just get pissed off at me. And I'm like, wow, you'd rather get pissed off at me than you playing as a pagan all the time. Oh, but I play good and bad. I play a good person. No, that's not Christianity. Christianity is not a good person. You and I are sinners. We're not good people. We have to evangelize. So if you're going to play a Christian in these D&D games, then start evangelizing. Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ is the only way? Do that. Okay? Then I'm good with you. But you're not going to do that. You're going to shut up and submit to the paganism of the games. They're all like that too, like I explained. You go out, you fight, you get to player treasure. Oh, you do good, do good works, and then you get the reward and upgrade and then do the good works again. No, that's not Christianity. Christianity is you're a fool and an idiot like me, and you're trying to tell them to be Christians in your idiotic way, like me, in my idiotic way. And you're trying to tell them about Jesus Christ. That's being a Christian. So if you want to do that, boom. If you don't do that, then you're not a Christian. Oh, it's just a game. Really? Tell that to all the pagans playing all the LGBTQ friendly games and to Sly Flourish and his anti-colonial rant and to the woke WotC people. Tell that to them. It's just a game. It's not a game. Tell that to the sportscasters and ESPN and the Democrats. Tell that to the Democrats when it comes to your business. It's just my business. No, it's their business too. The pagans are they have so much more faith in their evil and and patheticness than you and I do in our God. And that's, to me, what's kind of pathetic about this. Be a Christian in the RPGs. Be a Christian. Anyway. Okay, so you got me started again. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, I got I'm trying to do like a little infographic way of showing the rules. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm simplifying the, have you take your hand and walk you through the rules very simplistically. And I rewrote the whole thing. And I want to make my face a little smaller just so I can show you the whole thing here. Let's see here. Oh, no, not that. Me. Okay. And teeny weeny. All right, whatever. All right, so game dice. I did a little picture here of the dice. All right, I'm just gonna go through this because I got to nerd out as a Christian. There's no other Christian RPG videos out there where Jesus Christ is brought up in role playing games, and why not? Freaking Gary Gygax was a Christian. Okay. The dice used are the large 20-sided dice known as D20 and the 5 smaller dice as the 4-sided dice D4, 6-sided dice D6, 8-sided die D8, 10-sided die D10, and the 12-sided die D12. So I'm looking at Shadow Dark's players, PDF to try to simplify how she simplified the rules and to explain them. So I did look at all of that to try to do my own little version because but I'm not changing the rules. I'm just trying to simplify it down to the essence. The D20 is the main dice used for all skill rolls. I did not buy Shadow Dark, by the way. It was the free PDF. The D20 is the main dice used for all skill rolls, including combat. And I've heard people say how simplistic the writing was, and I'm like, damn, I need to, and how quickly it spread like wildfire. Not that even doing this would I spread like wildfire, because I am a Christian role playing game. No one would support me on the as far as other YouTubers and RPGs, and I get that. I'm fine with that too, because I don't want to support them. So yeah, the D20 is the main dice used for all skill rolls, including combat. Okay, the smaller die represent any bonuses gained through skills and blessings and so on. These are numbered 1 D4, 2 D6, 3 D8, 4 D8, 5 D12. So any bonuses are simply totaled as numbers. These are then divided into the above groupings of 5. So every 5, one gets a D12. Below 5, or any remainder, allots a smaller die. Well, D1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope you get that. Okay. Actually, I'm reading this, but I don't know how to explain it without someone questioning me and talking it over. So that's my simple overview. Die ranks. Any bonuses like +1, +2, etc. are added together. The total is the die ranks or DRs. Skills, blessings, inspired die, gear, and other factors the GM notes are all combined for this. If the die rank total is 1 through 5, then the bonus die is simply D4 to D12. But if the sum is 6 or more, groupings of 5 are used. This is then a dice pool. When one gets a lot of bonus die ranks, they group the numbers in groups of 5. So every 5 die ranks has a D12. Any remainder number between 1 through 4 will get this corresponding die as well. A D4, D6, D8, or D10. So this will form the dice pool of dice. When rolling, one keeps the highest result of the dice pool. Examples: sword 4, bless 3, knightly sword 1 equals 8 die ranks. Or 8 divided by 5 is 1, remainder 3, or D12 and a D8. To roll will be D20 plus 4 for prowess, and then the D12, D8 keep the highest. Preach 5, bless 5, church podium 1 equals 11 die ranks. Or 11 divided by 5 equals 2, remainder 1, or D12, D12, D4. To roll would be D20 plus 3 for the spirit, and then your D12, D12, D4. And then keep the highest. So knightly sword 1 shows how gear could add to the roll. Climbing gear, cookware, these are gear bonuses for respective rolls. Church podium 1 shows how the GM or players could designate additional bonuses based on the situation, setting, or scenario. Using die ranks and dice pool opens up a world of bonus possibilities, each with their own unique fun descriptor. I hope that is somewhat clear. I'm trying to boil this down to the basic essence of the game mechanic. And this game dice mechanic is very, I use it for everything. And it's very, I don't need to look at any tables. I don't need to look at how bonuses work. It's just a die rank. Everything is a die rank. So, and even the gear and all that, it's all die ranks. Scanner 1, scanner 3, scanner 5. You get 5 die ranks to use that scanner. Well, and I would be electron scanner or mechanical scanner or geological scanner. Each one is specifics. That's how mean I am. I mean, it could be a multi-scanner, which is fine. Multi-scanner 3. So every time you use the multi-scanner 3, you get 3 die ranks with that multi-scanner to add to your roll, or to the die rank, sorry. The reason I like doing this, and it turns into a dice pool, is it just makes it so that you can constantly add die ranks, and you're not really worried as a GM about them being overpowered, because they roll, the D12, D4, whatever it is, and they pick the highest. So yes, they get better and better at stuff, but it still averages out. There's still sort of a bell curve that's much wider than just having constant numbers that are easier. Using just +1, +5, +10, that's definitely easier. D20 plus your trait plus your bonuses. So you get +12 pretty quick in the game, and at that point, the game becomes kind of boring and not that fun in the sense of the overpoweredness of it all. And the GM then constantly has to add in overpowered monsters and encounters and stuff, which gets kind of just I don't like it. Me personally, maybe I'm just getting old and tired. I like that when in my Christian Space game, they've been playing for 40, 60 episodes now. A new player can come in and immediately join them and not as good as them in the roles, but they're not demigods or something. They're not superheroes. They're still fallible in their roles and stuff. Okay, determining difficulty is very simple. All right, GMs and players alike roll the skills of their players. They both use the D20 plus trait plus die rank system. But what are they rolling for, or what are they rolling to succeed? To succeed, one needs to beat a difficulty determined by the situation. The default difficulty is 12. So if you want, you can just say 12, especially with young kids and stuff. And by the way, you could also cap off the die ranks to 5 if you want early on. I'm going to put that in here somewhere, a starter version for kids and stuff, so they don't have to go beyond the 5 die ranks initially. I'll figure this out. Don't worry. The default difficulty is 12. In combat, the difficulty is the defense of the character. This is 12 plus awareness plus shield and helm, of the character. This is 12. Yeah, that's enough. In moving about or maneuvers during combat or intense situations, the difficulty is 12. For treacherous terrain, the difficulty is 12 plus the armor save of the character. So I really love this because that how we're trying to figure out a way when you wear better and better armor, it becomes more and more burdensome to wear. I wear full plate in my medieval combat stuff, and it's a 20 to maneuver. The difficulty, to move around and stuff. I mean, I can run in a straight line pretty decently for a short while, but that's about it. But turning and all that stuff, and staying up, that's hard. The GM can roll and exhausting. I would like to add a mechanic where you just lose hit points, vitality in armor as you're fighting, because it's exhausting. But I'm not going to go that far, that tedious. The GM can roll the player's armor. Oh, it does though. And if you fumble, you do roll your armor save as a energy drain, endurance drain. So there is that. The GM can roll the player's armor save in front of everyone and add it to the 12. This total is the number to beat. So anytime someone under treacherous terrain is like jagged rocks, muddy, water is a foot 6 inches to a foot deep of water is around. Whatever the treacherous terrain is, and it could be climbing, it could be whatever. Then you roll you get the 12, and then you roll their armor save to that. So obviously, it's like a nun would probably just have a 12 and not no other penalties to do stuff in that treacherous terrain. For extreme treacherous terrain, a GM can decide to add even more to a roll, but this is optional or for extreme situations that warrant more. Climbing a cliff or traversing a muddy bog is treacherous terrain, and the above applies, but the GM could describe several additional factors. It is stormy, it is flooding, it is dark, you are being fired upon. This is 4 additional factors. If a knight in full plate mail is charging through a bog as cultists shoot arrows at him, full plate is D12, the 4 factors is a D10. The difficulty roll would be a 12 plus D12, D10, keep highest. Okay, so that's, and for extreme treacherous terrain, that's obviously an option the GM can apply, especially if he feels the players are constantly taking advantage of stuff in their under extreme areas, and they think they can just do it pretty easily. Like, no, hold on a minute. Now it's dark. And what I like too about the factors, it is stormy, it is flooding, it is dark, you are being fired upon. It helps and those are die ranks, right? One each. It helps the GM too to determine the difficulty of something by describing each element that he considers difficult. So it really helps the GM describe an area and break it down mechanically, for the game. It's funny, as a GM, 45 years, the one thing I find really, not really irksome, but subtly irksome for me and the players, is when I have to decide the difficulty of something on the fly, right in front of them. Like, that's a 16, that's a 14, that's an 18. When I do that on the fly, because there are so many different things that they want to do, it becomes a little like, what's Ron gonna say now? And I don't like it. I can tell subtly it's not. It sort of breaks the story when I, as the storyteller, referee and have to make this, arbitrarily decide. I mean, I'm deciding with some education, but it feels arbitrary in a sense. Like, could it be a 14? Could it be a 16? I like that I say, well, there's this. It's stormy, it's flooding, it's dark, you're being fired upon. Those are 4 things that are stressing you out. That's 4 die ranks right there. So it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I like that because it's very convincing to them and me. And I don't have to worry about what the number is. I just roll the dice in front of them. They see the difficulty. It could be a 22 or it could be a 14. I've done plenty of times where, high roll and I'll get like a 1 or 2 and like, you know what? That's all. If that's what it is on the die, I accept it, and they accept it too, and it's pretty fun. But if it's high, I say, yeah, that's everything is straining you out, and it's really hard. So that's a really fun. I really like that. It takes away that irksome sort of arbitrary decision making. I don't like to make decisions on the fly. I don't mind making decisions when I'm preparing stuff, but there's a lot of on the fly decisions. I don't like to make them. My brain is just too. Or I'm just really humble nowadays that I prefer the dice to decide it for me and not me decide it. All right, determining success. So in this game, you can do succeed or fail. Let me just read it. The straightforward way to determine success is a succeed or fail outcome. For combat in many situations, rolling above the difficulty is a success. This is used most commonly in this game, but there are options for varying degrees of fail or success. First, the die rank result. Whatever one succeeds or fails by versus the difficulty, then halved, is the die rank result, or DRR. Total 27 minus 12 equals 15, or 7 die ranks. I'm just one. Total roll versus total roll 27 minus 12. Let me see if I can fit this on here. Difficulty equals 15, or 7 die ranks, or half of that. Let's see, or half of that rounded down is 7 die ranks. This can now be used as die ranks. The GM can interpret how these are used with player input. If one fails decline, the GM can roll the die ranks as exhaustion taken. The first group of 5 can be exhaustion, draining one's vitality. The second group of 5 can be armor or gear damage, but if no armor, a temporary frustration and straining penalty. I do want to add one more thing in here. Climb is, how far do they climb? Maybe they could be halfway and need to re-roll again. I want to try to add that in. You know what? This is just a basic summary. There's going to be further elaboration. And again, these are all options for you as a GM. If one succeeds a climb, the positive die ranks can go into the next roll of combat or searching about, or to help the next climber. Prayer and cooking DRs can convert the DRs to inspire die to be split amongst the recipients. Die rank results will have many options, and later rules will give guides on these. Yeah. So sometimes you can fail at doing something, but you still are moving towards the success, based on how close you failed by. Anyway, that's another elaboration thing. Okay, so that's kind of like I'm breaking down the rules, and then I'm going to go down and sort of break down the rules simply again. And what's fun about this is that I don't have to really go back, to reference these to do it. Like, I already know it, so I'm going to just write it real simplistically to explain everything, because I'm really trying to write this to a child. I know this is still a little above and beyond what kids are used to, but I remember as a kid doing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and reading that thing like crazy. So I'm going to at least push them to try to read more, read and get it down a little bit, not dumb it down too much, but it's to get it covered. But anyway, so I'm working on it. I'm revamping it so that it can be explained more succinctly, I guess, more with a fresh look at it. Same rules, same thing, same craziness, but I'm gonna try to like cut all this verbiage down, just to some easy, quick reading, big words, big fonts, kind of thing. So there's my little video, my crazy little babbling, ranting video now about this. It's coming. I'm working on it every day now. I was gonna start on Alfred 6, but I gotta get this done. So I want to get this done, and then I'll work on my writing, my Alfred 6, which is, by the way, I have Alfred 1 through 5 on Amazon, which I should have started at the beginning of the video. I always forget to do this. I'm gonna do this right now, just to let you know. Which one is the and let me just do this the right way. Hold on a minute. Let me get this up and running the right way. Okay, I'm doing a commercial. Just please hold on for a sec. Just want to do this real quick. Okay. Real quick, and then I'll let you go. Okay. All right. So here's my books on Amazon. The Conquest of the Evermire are kind of very D&D-ish, and secretly they do tie into my Alfred series, but they're very D&D-ish, so it's kind of neat. They're short, pulp books, like. And try to buy it from Amazon and not from used. Looking at the used, I have a feeling that the used books, I have a feeling there's organizations out there that will print on demand Amazon books. They're not really used. I don't know. I just looking at them going, who, what? And they're all coming from sort of similar places. Anyway. Okay, so I've got Night of the Dead for all you dads out there, all you men. It's hardcore. It's a Christian, hardcore, apocalyptic. A dude happens to have medieval armor in Hollywood, modern day. And yeah, there it is. And I made these covers, by the way, so that's kind of cool. Totally Photoshop-y stuff. Anyway. Alfred, not AI art. Okay, this is before AI. So they're a few years old. And Alfred here, my Alfred series is on Amazon. Look at that. 1 through 5. Trying my hardest here to market. Now, I have some of the For the Lord RPGs on there, but I guess hold off a sec. I'm going to update these with the new revamping of the rules. And any of you that have bought it, I'll send you, the PDF update. You can print it out and stick it in there. But it's just a few pages, but it's the same rules. I'm not changing the rules. I'm just trying to explain it better is all. Not. I mean, and each of these has an iteration of explaining it as well. So, my RPGs. Anyway, all right. So that's it. Thanks for blah blah blah. We need some more Christian RPG content out here on YouTube to show that we too can have a awesome Christian role playing game, and community. And it's a fellowship. My dream is that for you guys is that you get a fellowship of people going, you turn it into a ministry. And that's your ministry, and you're doing something for the Lord. You play the game, you iron sharpens iron. You get connected with each other, and then you start talking about evangelism and church planting in the sense of in the RPG community, in the culture. You start creating clubs that go out and for kids, at the churches, at your churches, have them play this game. They will have to. In this game, I have heard kids speak the gospel terribly, but they totally were trying, and it was awesome, and they wanted to try. And I even had one boy, I still have it on video. I gotta edit it down because it's just because we had a lot of technical, to get it up and running, and so I've been holding off on putting it on YouTube, and the dad's like, totally put it on YouTube. But anyway, it was so cool because one son wanted to be a preacher, and the other one just wanted to be a guard. He didn't want to preach or anything. But towards the end of our little mini campaign, he went up. They caught a witch. He was in a cage, and he went up to her. It was a post-apocalyptic, and he went up to her and he evangelized to her. It was so like, what? You're gonna? Yeah, I want to go tell her. So he wanted to try. So this game will open up kids to try to evangelize. And think about that. Think the mindset of, this is what Christianity is all about. It's about going into the pagan world and seeing how evil they are. Slavery. See, they want to get rid of slavery in these role-playing games because they don't want you to know what pagans are really all about. They want to erase all the evil that they are going to do have been doing for all throughout human history. They want to erase all that so you don't know it. But if there's a game, a role-playing game where slavery is in there, you can now experience it, learn it, understand it, see the suffering, and realize, oh, this is bad and we got to do something about it. The pagans want to erase all that. They don't want you to know colonialism. They don't want you to know Christians went around to the world and changed the world. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know church history. They want you to study the Forgotten Realms and Faerun or whatever. I don't even know what the heck they're all called. Greyhawk. They want you to study that. You work on that and learn the lore of that. Don't worry about Christian history or church history. Don't even, it's boring. I even have Christians who don't want to do that. Christian men who dog me for daring to do this. Those are the worst. The pagans, I expect the attacks and all that, but the Christian dudes that want to defend their D&D, wow, that's the worst. All right, Game of Life. I mean, I don't mind if you play D&D. I get it. That's fine. Whatever. But to defend it, wow, All right, Game of Life, man. Don't roll dice, okay? Roll holy dice. Roll holy dice. Evangelize, church planting. In those games, put Jesus Christ. Say Jesus Christ in your games.